Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Miguel Sanchez. Welcome to episode 33 of Movie History, Walt Disney Animation Studios, coming to you from Visalia, California. And today, we've got another movie to take a look at as we're getting closer to the end of the 1990s. That's right, we're halfway through the 1990s, and today's movie takes it all the way to where we are right now, the good old United States of America, as we meet an iconic legend straight from America. That's right, an American legend finally comes to life, and we're gonna get into it today. So yeah, let's get right into it and show what we could do together. Are you ready for it? Then let's get started. For episode 33, we're looking at Pocahontas. That's right, an American legend comes to life, and we're gonna show you to you today. Oh yes, we got the proof, and we got it right here. So thank you all for coming, and now let's get into right into it. If you haven't seen episode 32, our previous episode was about the Lion King, and it was an hour, and it was another episode that bypassed the 1 hour mark. Oh boy, bypassing the 1 hour mark, coming in with a runtime of 1 hour and 12 minutes even. Unbelievable. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch it right now. The link to it is up there on the top right corner screen. Click on that link and see it for yourself. The third episode in the series to bypass the 1 hour mark. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch it right now. Otherwise, sit back and let's get right into this episode, shall we? Are you ready to see Pocahontas? Then let's get into it. So, about the movie. Pocahontas is a 1995 American animated musical historical drama film based on the life of the Powhatan woman Pocahontas and the arrival of English colonial settlers from the Virginia Company. The film romanticizes Pocahontas' encounter with John Smith and her legendary saving of his life. The film was produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation and released by Walt Disney Pictures on June 10, 1995. It is the 33rd Disney animated feature film and the 6th film produced and released during the period known as the Disney Renaissance. The film was directed by Mike Gabriel and Eric Goldberg, his feature directorial debut. The voice cast stars Irene Bedard and Mel Gibson as Pocahontas and Smith, respectively. I know, that's good. With David Alcazayers, Russell Means, Christian Bale, Billy Connolly, and Linda Hunt providing other voices. The score was done by Alan Menken, who also wrote the film's song with Steven Schwartz. After making his directorial debut with The Rescue Down Under for 1990, which you can go check out on episode 29 of the show after you done watch this video, Gabriel conceived that the film during a Thanksgiving weekend. The project went into development concurrently with Lion King for 1994, which again is on the previous episode, so watch it right after this video. And attracted most of Disney's top animators. Meanwhile, Disney studio chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg decided the film should be a serious romantic epic in the vein of Beauty and the Beast for 1981, which you can go check out on episode 30, which is more than an hour long as well. So watch it right now. In hope that like Beauty, it would also be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. Screenwriters Carl Binder, Susanna Grant, and Philip Lizepnik took creative liberties with history in an attempt to make the film palatable to audiences. Pocahontas received mixed reactions from reviewers, who praised its animation, voice performances, and music. Oh boy. But criticized its story with its lack of focus on tone. The film's historical inaccuracies and racial overtones received polarized responses. Pocahontas earned over $346 million at the box office. The film received 2 Academy Awards for Best Musical or Comedy Score for Menken and Best Original Song for Colors of the Wind. According to critics, citation needed, Pocahontas has influenced subsequent films. So, yeah. So, that's right, Pocahontas did win 2 Academy Awards. One for Best Musical and Comedy Score, and one for Best Original Song. So, now, that's pretty much something. We take a look at the movie stats. Directed by Mike Gabriel and Eric Goldberg, screenplay by Carl Binder, Susanna Grant, and Phil Lizepnik, story by Glenn Keane, Joe Grant, Ralph Zondag, Bernie Matheson, Ed Gombert, Keen Clayton, Francis Glavies, Robert Gibbs, Bruce Morris, Todd Kurosawa, Duncan Marjorie Banks, and Chris Buck. Based on Pocahontas, produced by Jim Pentecost, starring Joe Baker, Christian Bale, Irene Bedard, Billy Connolly, James Applemunt Fall, Mel Gibson, Linda Hunt, John Cassier, Judy Kuhn, Danny Mann, Russell Means, David Alcacires, Michelle St. John, Gordon Toodles, the and Frank Welker. Edited by H. Lee Peterson. Music by Alan Menken. Production companies are Walt Disney Pictures and Walt Disney Feature Animation, distributed by Buena Vista Pictures. Release dates are June 10, 1995 in New York City and June 23rd, 1995 for widescreen release. So the running time is 81 minutes. Country is United States. Language English. Box budget $55 million and the box office $346.1 million. That's a lot, my friends. That's a lot. Now let's get into the plot. In 1607, the Susan Constant sails from London to the New World, carrying English settlers from the Virginia Company. Along the way, the Susan Constant is caught in a North Atlantic storm, and Captain John Smith, who dreams about adventure, saves Thomas, a young and inexperienced crewmate, from drowning. As they approach the New World from settlers, including John, talk of adventure, finding gold, finding Indians. Indians! Oh boy. I know. And potentially settling in the new land. In the Powhatan tribe of Senecomica, Virginia, Pocahontas, the beautiful daughter of Chief Powhatan, fears being possibly wed to Kocoum, a brave warrior whom she sees as too serious for her own free-spirited personality. Powhatan gives Pocahontas her mother's necklace as a present. Pocahontas, along with her friends, the raccoon Miko, and the hummingbird Flit, visit Grandmother Willow, a spiritual talking willow tree, and speaks of dream involving a spinning arrow and her confusion regarding what her path in life should be. Grandmother Willow then alerts Pocahontas to the arriving English. The Voyagers' greedy leader, Governor Radcliffe, who seeks gold as part of his plan to bring him wealth and status, has Jamestown built in a wooded clearing and immediately has the crew men dig for gold. John departs to explore the wilderness and encounters Pocahontas. At first, he simply hears her make realistic Native American noises, but Grandmother Willow gives him the ability to hear her speak. They quickly bond, fascinated by each other's words, and end up falling in love, despite Powhatan's orders to stay away from the Englishmen after Kocoum and the other warriors engage them in a fight. Meanwhile, Miku meets Percy, Ratcliffe's pet pug, and becomes the bane of his existence. When John tells Pocahontas that his men and he are here to find the gold, she tells him that there is no gold. Pocahontas introduces John to Grandmother Willow and avoids other crewmen, Ben and Lon, searching for him. But Pocahontas' best friend Nakoma discovers her relationship with John and warns Kocoum. Ratcliffe also learns of John's encounters with Pocahontas and angrily warns John against sparing any natives he comes across as treason. Oh boy, we have a problem here. Apostrophe S. Oh boy, hang on tight, boys. I'll fix this right away. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. And the apostrophe has been and the S has been removed from Pocahontas. No. So there you go. Moving on. All right, back to the plot. Later, John and Pocahontas meet with Grandmother Willow and plan to bring peace between the colonists and the tribe. John and Pocahontas share kids, while Kocoum and Thomas, sent by both parties to spy on each other, witness from afar. Outraged, Kocoum attacks and attempts to kill John, but Thomas intervenes and shooting and killing Kocoum, who pulls on Pocahontas' necklace as he collapses, destroying it. But get rid of this again. Editor ads has been removed. So sorry about that. Moving on. John orders Thomas to leave before the tribesmen arrive. Capture John and retrieve Kocoum's body. Enraged at Kocoum's death, Powhatan angrily berates Pocahontas for leaving the village and declares war on the English, beginning with John's execution at dawn. Thomas reaches Jamestown safely at night and warns the English settlers of John's capture. Ratcliffe then rallies his men to battle, using this as an excuse to annihilate the tribe and find their non-existent gold. That same night, Pocahontas also orders his men to prepare for battle. A desperate Pocahontas visits Grandmother Willow, where Miko hands her John's compass. Pocahontas realizes the arrow from John's compass is the same spinning arrow from her dream, which leads to her destiny. Morning comes, and Pocahontas and his tribe drag John to a cliff overlooking a clearing for execution. Meanwhile, Ratcliffe leads the armed colonists to the cliff and to fight Pocahontas' warriors. Just as Pocahontas is about to execute John, Pocahontas intervenes and finally convinces him to end the fighting between the two groups and spare John's life. Both sides stand down, and John is released. But when the unmoved Ratcliffe orders his men to attack, they refuse. Due to Ratcliffe's betrayal, he fires his musket at Pocahontas. John takes a shot at him. John takes a shot himself and is injured. Livid, the settlers turn on Ratcliffe and detain him for hurting their comrade. Comrade. John is nursed back to health by the tribe, but must return to England for his wounds to fully heal. Ratcliffe is also sent back to England to face punishment for his crimes against the settlement. John asks Pocahontas to come with him, but she chooses to stay with her tribe to help keep the peace. Miko and Percy, now friends, give Pocahontas her mother's necklace, completely fixed. John leaves without Pocahontas, but with Pocahontas' blessing to return anytime he likes. The film ends with Pocahontas standing on the top of the cliff, watching the ship carry John depart. So that's it, my friends. Whew, that was some plot of the film. Now let's go to the voice cast. Alright, now let's get to the voice cast. Irene Bedard as Pocahontas, the daughter of Powhatan. She is a very adventurous person who defies her father's strict prohibition of meeting the English settlers and falls in love with Captain John Smith. Glenn Keane serves as the supervised animator for Pocahontas. Judy Kahn as the singing voice of Pocahontas. Okay. Mel Gibson as John Smith, the love interest of Pocahontas. He is the only settler in Jamestown willing to befriend the natives due to his love for Pocahontas and acceptance of other cultures. Although Gibson provides most of Smith's singing in the film, Jess Harnell provides about 20% of Smith's singing voice in certain scenes. So that's good. David Ockensires as Governor Ratcliffe, the greedy and arrogant governor of the settlers who leads an expedition to Virginia to find gold and other riches that he wants to keep for himself. Stiers also provides the voice of Wiggins, Ratcliffe's manservant. Unlike Ratcliffe, Wiggins is gentle and good-hearted, but he's stuck serving a terrible man. John Cassier as Miko, Pocahontas' pet raccoon who is friendly to John Smith and loves eating. Russell Means as Chief Powhatan, Pocahontas' father and chief of the Powhatan tribe. Jim Cummings provides the singing voice of Chief Powhatan. Christian Bale as Thomas, a lawyer friend of John Smith. Billy Connolly as Ben and Joe Baker as Lon, two settlers and friends of John Smith. Linda Hunt as Grandmother Willow, a speaking willow tree that acts as Pocahontas' guide. Danny Mann as Percy, Governor Ratcliffe's snooty and short-tempered pet bug. Frank Welker as Flit, Pocahontas' feisty pet hummingbird, who is more easygoing as opposed to Pocahontas' adventurous spirit. James Upperbutt Fall as Coquam, a strong and brave but stern and aggressive Powhatan warrior who Chief Powhatan wants to marry Pocahontas. And Gordon Tutusis as Kikata, the medicine man of the Powhatan. Jim Cummings provides the singing voice of Kikata. 3 actors in the film have been involved in other Pocahontas-related projects. Gordon Tutusis acted as Chief Powhatan in Pocahontas the Legend for 1995, and Christian Bale and Irene Bedard would portray John Rolfe and Pocahontas' mother, respectively, in Terrence Malick's The New World from 2005. Whew, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Long as I buy it, but now you know. Let's get into the production, starting with development, and it's going to be a very, very long one, as it's going to take 2 slides to get it done. So brace yourself, people. Here we go. Following the release of The Rescue Down Under for 1990, director Mike Gabriel was eager to collaborate with veteran Disney story artist Joe Grant on a follow-up project that was vastly different from the anime adventure film. In April and May 1991, they first partnered on an adaptation of Swan Lake, with both of them writing story outlines and creating conceptual artwork. Gabriel and Grant then submitted their outline for approval, but it was negatively received by the studio's live-action script readers. Earlier during Thanksgiving weekend, 1990, Gabriel had wanted to direct an animated musical set in the American West. At a relative's Thanksgiving dinner, while glancing through numerous titles in their bookcase, Gabriel stuck on an idea of adapting the life of Pocahontas after finding a book about her. Following the cancellation of Swan Lake, Gabriel returned to the idea. Shortly after, Gabriel pitched his idea at the Gong Show meeting by Michael Eisner, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Pete Schneider, and Roy E. Disney. And by the way, the E stands for Edward, so remember that. He had written the title Walt Disney's Pocahontas on an image of Tiger Lily from Peter Pan from 1953, to the back of which he taped a brief pitch that read, "An Indian princess is torn between her father's wishes to destroy the English settlers and her wishes to help them. A girl caught between her father and her people, and her love for the enemy." Oh, so yeah, now you get. Oh, by the way, I did talk about Peter Pan on the show. Yeah, Peter Pan was on episode 14, so go watch that if you're not watching this video. Remember that. Alright, guy, good. Coincidentally, feature animation president Peter Schneider had been developing an animated version of William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet. There are several similarities. He has idea of Gabriel's Pocahontas pitch. Schneider recalled, "We are particularly interested in exploring the theme of if we don't learn to live with one another, we will destroy ourselves." Gabriel's pitch was quickly accepted, becoming the quickest story turnaround in Disney studio history. After Beauty and the Beast, for 1991, was unprecedentedly nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture at the 64th Academy Awards. Then studio chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg opted to produce another animated romance film in the hopes of achieving a similar feat. That's good. While Aladdin for 1992 and The Lion King for 1994 were considered to be too far into development, Katzenberg deemed Pocahontas a promising candidate and thus pushed for the heroine to be older, the romance between her and Smith to be more mature, and the animals to be mute. Yes. Again, The Lion King was in the previous episode, which is episode 32, and Aladdin was in episode 31, so go watch them both after you're done watching this video. So guys, head of story Tom Cito went on the record stating he wanted to include broader jokes, but the higher ups wanted it more winsome, more gentle. Some of the folks were so concerned about political correctness, they didn't want to be cuckoo wacky about it. Oh no. I didn't like that. Yeah, so there you go. Eric Goldberg, following his contributions to Aladdin as the supervising animator of the Genie, and with all animation units for The Lion King already occupied, was asked to go to Pocahontas alongside Gabriel, which he agreed. Yeah, Gabriel, to which he agreed. Yes, agreed. Likewise, he had originally expected the film to be more comedic and cartoonish like Aladdin, but Schneider informed him that the film would be produced in a vein more similar to that of Beauty and the Beast. The then ongoing 1992 Los Angeles riots further convinced Goldberg to commit to the film due to its racial themes. However, executive interference would grow so much that Goldberg himself decided to work for Chuck Jones Productions under the pseudonym Claude Rains. Oh boy, Claude Rains. During production. Oh boy, Claude Rains. I hate that guy. It eventually reached a peak when Joe Grant drew Percy wearing an Indian feather, by which the animators took the concept one step further by placing a Spanish ruff on Miko. Won a second acclaim. Animals don't have the intelligence to sketch their clothes. They don't even have opposing thumbs. The animators will retain their concept for the film. Under Katzenberg, Hercules, and Michael Eisner, the Disney Studios have begun a correlation of hiring Broadway personnel to manage the Disney animation staff. of their feature films that brought such producers as Amy Pell to Aladdin and Sarah MacArthur and Thomas Schumacher to The Lion King before making his producing debut on Pocahontas. James Pentecost had earlier worked as a production stage manager on several Broadway productions, including La Cage, La Cage Fullest, and Crimes of the Heart. In June 1982, the filmmakers embarked on a research trip to the Jamestown settlement where Pentecost first met Shirley Little Dove Costello McGowan and Debbie White Dove Costello. Little Dove and White Dove. I love it. Both descendants of the Powhatan Indians. I love it. The trip also included a visit to the Pamunkey Indian Reservation and conducted interviews with historians at Old Dominion University. Following the research trip, Costello McGowan served as a consultant traveling to the Disney Studios 3 times, and while Costello McGowan offered her services for free, Disney paid her $500 daily consulting fees plus expenses. Ultimately, when it came to light that the historical accuracy was not being pursued to the extent she hoped, McGowan has voiced her feelings of shame she felt in conjunction with her work on the film, saying she wished her name wasn't on it. Additional Native American consultants were brought in to authenticate the clothing and war dance choreography. That same month, Katzenberg held a meeting with the feature animation staff in which he predicted that Pocahontas would be a commercial hit, while deeming The Lion King experimental and less likely to succeed. As a result, most of the animators of Walt Disney Feature Animation decided to work on Pocahontas instead believing it would be the more prestigious and successful of the two. So that's all guys say. Nothing else to worry about here. Man. But man, this production is too long. Yeah, I thought so too. Now let's move on to let's continue on. Let's continue with production. We move on to writing. Another big one. It's gonna take 2 slides to get through. In January 1993, Carl Binder joined the project, having previous expertise as a television writer on shows such as Punky Brewster, War of the Worlds, Friday the 13th, the series, and Top Cops. 4 months later, Susanna Grant and Philip Lezebnik joined the writing team. Susanna Grant was selected by Disney as a screenwriter on Pocahontas and writing the Nicol Fellowships in screenwriting awarded by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences the year before while still attending film school. On board as a screenwriter, she was one of the many who was contributing the specific vision the upper management at Disney had in mind, and collaborating with Native American consultants. While working on the movie, Susanna Grant wrote to a specific story. Susanna Grant wrote to a specific story outline, and no scene was rewritten less than 35 minutes until she felt it was perfect. Story supervisor Tom Cito, who became the project's unofficial historical consultant, did extensive research into the early colonial era and the story of John Smith and Pocahontas, and was confronted over the historical inaccuracies from historians. Already knowing that in reality Pocahontas married John Rolfe, Gabriel explained it was felt that the story of Pocahontas and Rolfe was too complicated and violent for a youthful audience. So instead, they would focus on Pocahontas' meeting with John Smith. I better fix this again. And I'm back, all fixed. The apostrophes and the S's, they're all in the correct position. So yeah, back to work, my friends. The filmmakers discovered that Pocahontas was around 12 years old and Smith was not a very likable character, in which producer James Pentecost confessed that dramatic license was needed to be taken. Likewise, when searching for an appropriate age for Pocahontas to begin her relationship with Smith, Glenn Key explained, "We have the choice of being historically accurate or socially responsible. So we chose the socially responsible side by increasing Pocahontas' age from a girl for a girl into a young woman. One of Gabriel's early ideas, was for Pocahontas' mother to be embodied in a certain star in the sky by the end of the film. She would help Pocahontas find her path to Smith. The Lion King, however, had concurrently carried a similar idea of the ancestors giving wisdom and guidance to the protagonist, so the idea was discarded. Michael Eisner pushed for Pocahontas to have a mother, lamenting that we're always getting fried for having no mothers. The writers could counter that Pocahontas was polygamous. I don't know how to pronounce it, and formed dynastic alliances among other neighboring tribes by impregnating a local woman and giving away the child. So it was believed that Pocahontas herself probably did not see her mother that much. Well, Eisner conceded, I guess that means we're toasted. Ultimately, her mother's spirit would become the swirling wind that occurs throughout the film. As for the villain, they chose John Radcliffe, whose portrayal was based on actual English captains, including John Martin, Christopher Newport, and Edward Maria Wakefield. In reality, it was Wakefield who despised John Smith, but the filmmakers preferred the sinister sound of Radcliffe. The writers would continue to adapt actual events into the film, such as Pocahontas warning Smith that the Indians were after him so he could escape in the middle of the night. Pocahontas ordering to capture Smith to make bead necklaces and to humiliate him, and Pocahontas being captured by Radcliffe instead of Samuel Argall, though none of them worked with the story. Yeah, none of this actually worked. I know. Sito mentioned that Joe Grant contributed heavily toward the film, as he was the creator of Redfeather, Meeko, and Flint. Redfeather was a wisecracking turkey who was intended to be voiced by John Candy, and Percy, who was to be voiced by Richard E. Grant, was revised to become mute. Following the death of John Candy in March 1984, co-screenwriter Susanna Grant decided the turkey was inappropriate for the script she co-wrote for Pocahontas, and a more realistic approach would have the animals in pantomime instead of talking. Joe Grant stated Redfeather had comic potential. He thought he was handsome, a ladies' man. When we decided he could talk and have no hands, he could mime. Oh no. Joe Grant would later draw a concept sketch of a hair-braiding raccoon, in which Glenn Keane animated and claimed the directors loved the idea and got rid of the turkey character. Similarly, according to Sito, Meeko was created because they were naturally enigmatic, because they have little hands and a little mask over their face like a thief. Gabriel described the inspiration for Flint, the hummingbird, for having hummingbirds all over my backyard. Between brackets, I thought, that's a great animal to animate. According to the directors, Governor Radcliffe's peppered pet, Percy, was based on history, as the royalty of the time often carried small pugs wherever they went. But the spiritual ancestor, a male character named Old Man River, was originally envisioned, and Gregory Peck was cast in the role. Peck later realized that the character ought to be a maternal figure and reluctantly turned down the role, conceived as a tree of life whose seasonal changes would frame the story. Grandmother Willow grew out of a concept sketch of a sawed-off tree with a branch pointing to its rings, drawn by Joe Grant, which would serve as a narrator that would remember back to Pocahontas 300 years earlier. Joe Grant would continue to protest to have the tree be more a character within the story, and her character flowed into the idea of a grandmotherly spiritual advisor to Pocahontas. Because of Katzenberg's opposition to having Grandmother Willow in the story, Joe Grant assisted fellow veteran story artist Bernie Matheson with coming up tree puns such as "My bark is worse than my bite, the roots of all problems," and "They're barking up the wrong tree." Matheson reluctantly added them to his pitch for the next morning. And during the story meeting, he exclaimed, "Everybody loved it, all of a sudden. Oh, I want her in. Let's build her part bigger." That's it for writing, my friends. That's all for writing. Continuing on with production, we go to casting. In September 1992, Disney began casting actors for Pocahontas, telling talent agents that they were particularly interested in Native American actors for the project. For the role of Pocahontas, Broadway actress singer Judy Kuhn was hired to provide the singing voice for the eponymous character before Irene Bedard was cast. Kuhn explained, "They said you are going to do the dialogue unless we find a Native American actress whose singing voice matched yours." I was cast before Irene, so it actually went backwards. Bedard herself was filming Lakota Woman Siege at Wounded Knee for 1984, where she was informed by the casting director that they were looking for someone to voice the title role. According to Bedard, she took a train to Buffalo, New York, where she walked in wearing a sundress and a straw hat and ran for the part. Back on the set of Lakota Woman, she learned that she was cast in the role. Michelle St. John had also auditioned for the role of Pocahontas and was given the role of Nakoma after Bedard was cast. Mel Gibson was cast as English settler John Smith, following a desire to make something for my kids. In notable contrast to previous voice actors for Disney animated features, Gibson provided the singing voice for his character, which the actor had described as the most difficult part of his role. Christian Bale auditioned for the role of Thomas. As he explained in an interview with Disney Adventures, the directors played with Thomas being Irish and Scottish and younger than I am, so I had to raise my voice and do different accents. But the more we did it, the more he became like me, older and English. Richard White, the voice of Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, was supposed to voice Radcliffe, but the crew was worried he might sound too much like Gaston, so he was replaced by his co-star, David Arkansayers, who also voices Radcliffe's dim-witted assistant Wiggins. Russell Means was cast as Chief Powhatan, though he initially expressed displeasure with the script that Native Americans addressed each other using proper names rather than the traditional "my father" or "my friend." Aboriginal Canadian actor Gordon Tutusis was also cast as the tribal medicine man Kikata. Throughout most of the production, the cast members performed their dialogue in separate recording sessions. Whew, that's it. That's all for casting. Continuing on with production, we go to design and animation. It's a long one, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, guys. Renowned for his animation of Ariel in Little Mermaid for 1989, supervising animator Glenn Keane was immediately tapped to draw the titular Indian princess. Following the demands of Jeffrey Katzenberg to make the title character the most idealized and finest woman ever made, Keane first saw his inspirations for his depictions of Pocahontas from Shirley Lota Costello McGowan and Debbie White Dove. Women he had met during the research trip to Virginia. Keane recalled meeting the women. So I turned around, and there's this beautiful Indian woman walking up, a Native American. She said, "Are you Glenn Keane, the animator that's going to do Pocahontas?" "Well, yeah." And then from behind another tree, another woman came up and she said, "Well, my name is Shirley Little Dove, and this is my sister, Debbie White Dove, and we are descended from Pocahontas." As they stood there, I took a picture of both of them between their faces. It was Pocahontas' face in my mind. I could see her. Other inspirations were Natalie Belkin, Naomi Campbell, Jamie Pillow, Supermodel Kate Moss, Charmaine Craig, Christy Turlington, Dinah Taylor, and her own voice actress Irene Bernard. For almost 3 years, Taylor herself sat for 4 3-hour modeling sessions in which she was videotaped so the animators could draw poses of her from different angles. Keane also looked to a 1620 depiction of Pocahontas from a history book, though he would state the depiction was not exactly candidate for people's most beautiful issue. So I made a few adjustments to add an Asian feeling to her face. Due to the complexity of the color schemes, shapes, and expressions in the animation, a total of 55 animators worked on the animation of Pocahontas' character alone, including Marquand and Empress Romanelos. Whoa, that's a lot. I like this. Moving on. After working at Sullivan Bluth Studios for over 14 years, John Pomeroy, who notoriously resided alongside Don Bluth during work on The Fox and Hound from 1981, in 1979, returned to Disney and worked on the film. Pomeroy noted that initially John Smith was portrayed as well groomed, and before the film's animators tried designs where the character was sloppier, bearded, and carried daggers and knives. Oh boy. Pomeroy was more satisfied with the character's design the more simple it became. Additionally, Pomeroy cited the inspiration for John Smith from Errol Flynn and the facial features of Gibson. Okay, that's good. Initially assigned as a supervising animator on The Lion King, Nick Ranieri did character designs and test animation for Timon, but moved over to Pocahontas, growing frustrated with an initially with an indecisive vision from the directors. There, he was assigned to animate Red Feather, but Jeffrey Katzenberg ordered for the animals to be mute, finding feathers difficult for Red Feather to gesture with. He was again assigned to animals Miko using a Little Golden Books animal book, and so illustrated by Alice and Martin Provenson as reference. Duncan Marjorie Banks utilized geometric geometric shapes. Yes, utilized geometric shapes to create Radcliffe. In early drafts of the character, he had the body similar to a pear, but to make him appear more arrogant, the animator increased the force of gravity on his chest so that he seemed more pompous and physically threatening. Chris Buck served as the supervising animator for Percy, Wiggins and Grandmother Willow. For Grandmother Willow, the face was traditionally animated by Buck, while the cowl and the trunk of the tree was digitally animated under the supervision of Steve Goldberg. Assisted with the effect animators, a 3D software program was employed for the bark to be individually manipulated and for the face to match with the computer-generated texture. Yeah, citation needed. We need a citation, brothers. We need a citation. Moving on. The following supervising animators also included Anthony DeRosa for Tacoma, Michael Sedano for Kokum, Ken Duncan for Thomas, T. Daniel Hubstead for The Settlers, Law and Ben, and Dave Prixma for Flint. While Mulan for 1988 was within its pre-production stages. 18 minutes were animated by 170 animators and ours at the Disney MGM Studios, which is called Disney Hollywood Studios, and it's at Walt Disney World, so remember that. And I will talk about Mulan on episode 36 of the show, so stay tuned for that. Besides, Hercules is episode 35, and it's episode 35, and before that, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is episode 34, and that'll be the next episode, so stay tuned for it. I know. Good. Initially, Gabrielle asked Michael Giaimo to create conceptual paintings for the film, as they both shared a style of shape-based and secondary art details. Giaimo, himself a former assistant animator and then a Cal Arts teacher, accepted, in which he worked several months on a freelance basis. After Goldberg became the film's co-director, the two directors asked Giaimo to officially join the cast. To officially join the staff. That's right. In which he was promoted to be the film's art director. For Giaimo, He relied on a color saturated, elegant designs in a less than realistic format, inspired by prehistoric Caribbean themes and creatures derived from Mexican and African folk art. Giavio also sought out inspiration for the film's look from the works produced by earlier Disney art designers such as Richard Kisley's story sketches from his unproduced film Hiawatha. In Evan Earl, who worked on Sleeping Beauty for 1959, and Mary Blair. Whew, that's a lot, my friends. That's it for design animation, and now let's close out production with music. Here we go. Closing out production, we have music. Howard Ashman and Alan Menken were planning to write songs for this film once they were finished working on Len, but Ashman died in 1991. Following the death of his longtime collaborator, Menken wrote the remaining songs for Len with Tim Rice at his home in London, which the New York-based composer found to be difficult. Well, when work on Len was finished, Menken was expected to write songs for the film with Rice. Kevin Bannerman, the film's director of development, stated Rice, which was always gallivanting around the world, and it was difficult to get him and Alan together. And so here was Steven Schwartz, between brackets, Serona, who had written scores that we all loved and we were huge fans of, and he lived in the New York area. Disney immediately contacted Steven Schwartz, who, after working on Rags and Children of Eden, had quit theater and was taking psychology courses at New York University. He was brought on board to write the lyrics. This was not the first time Menken had collaborated with Ashman for a Disney animated film. Menken commented that their work included moments of tension because Schwartz was also capable of writing music, and Menken had experience with lyrics. Due to corporate interest in the film surrounding its theme of promoting understanding in between different groups and its inclusion of violence and threats helped work out the overall themes of tolerance and cooperation. In 1992, due to the corporate interest in the film surrounding its themes of promoting understanding between different groups and its inclusion of violence and threats of greater conflict, Schwartz became heavily involved in the storytelling. Bannerman estimated that he spent a week with one of the screenwriters and helped work out the overall themes of tolerance and cooperation. In June 1992, Schwartz researched Jamestown, Virginia, where he absorbed the atmosphere and bought tapes of Native American music and English sea shanties, as well as other music from the early 17th century that helped inspire numbers in the film. Schwartz modeled his lyrical writing for people of other ethnicities, that of Oscar Hammerstein II and Shell Hardneck. Calls to the Wind was the first song to be written for the film. Gabriel, Goldberg, and Pentecost insisted that the song helped define the film's heart and soul. Schwartz began Colors with a few draft ideas for the lyrics, taking inspiration from Chief Seattle's letter to the United States Congress. Then Menken wrote the melody with Schwartz listening at the piano and making suggestions. Schwartz would add lyrics before a session together where they were refined. Just Around the River Band, also composed by Menken and Schwartz, was devised by Schwartz's wife Carol, with the idea that Pocahontas would have a recurring dream that suggested something coming her way, paving the way for her "I Want" song. The song almost did not make it into the completed film. When Disney executives doubted whether her song would have the kind of impact they wanted at that point. Schwartz, however, stated that he and Menken believed in it very strongly. Indeed, at one point, we wrote a different song for that spot, but Alan and I were never happy But Ella and I were never as happy with the second song, and ultimately everybody at Disney came to feel that way too. The filmmakers had planned for a song when Pocahontas and Smith met in the glade just before Kokum attacks his rival, and one of the settlers stalking Smith kills Kokum. There were an estimated 3 to 4 songs at this point, including "In the Middle of the River," "Forced to Dance," which was deemed too silly as it took place before Coco's death, and "Powerful Magic," which was another attempt at a happy song. A love song titled "If I Never Knew You" had been finished by the animators, but following a test screening where younger audiences were not interested in it, and the teachers felt giddy as it played, Menken suggested that the song be removed from the film. Although its melody remained in the orchestral underscoring. The film's soundtrack was successful, reaching #1 on the Billboard 200 charts during the week of July 22nd, 1985. It received a triple platinum certification. Woo! And that's it for production, my friends. That's all I gotta say. And I got some food to get. I got some food to eat. So hey, guys, hi folks. I'll be back with more right after this. All right, I'm back. So thank you for sticking around with me. Now let's move on to release, starting with marketing. To replicate the promotional buzz of The Lion King, the 4-minute musical number "Colors of the Wind" was released in November 1994, accompanying a theatrical re-release of The Lion King. On February 3rd, 1995, Disney began its promotional marketing campaign starting in San Diego, California, launching a nationwide 18-week tour of fashion malls located within 25 cities where a mall exhibit named Pocahontas Animation Discovery Adventure was created to help promote the release. There, a Disney animator would guide shoppers on a presentation tour, which featured a walk-through maze with interactive lily pads, flying birds, and a huge video wall, a studio workshop where visitors can become the voice of their favorite animated character, and an area where visitors can electronically manipulate images. Good boy, I love it. Additionally, they would demonstrate animation techniques and discuss the design and creation of Pocahontas' character. Further promotional tie-ins include Burger King distributing 55 million toy replicas of the film's characters with kids meals. Payless Shoes selling a line of moccasins, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Mattel peddling a Barbie-like Pocahontas doll. A high-speed scenes documentary television special titled "The Making of Pocahontas: A Legend Comes to Life" aired on the Disney Channel on June 28, 1985, where the animators, voice cast, crew, and studio heads were interviewed on the production of the film. The special was hosted by actress Irene Bernard, who happens to be the voice of Pocahontas. I know. The film had the largest premiere in history on June 10, 1985, in New York's Central Park, followed by a live performance by Vanessa Williams. Disney officials estimated the crowd at 100,000. The premiere's attendees included then New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, Caroline Kennedy, Mariah Carey, and Michael Eisner, the former CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Now you know, my friends. Closing out release, we go to home media. At first announced to be released on March 6, 1996, Pocahontas was first released on VHS and Laserdisc in the United States on February 28, 1996, under the Masterpiece Collection lineup. A deluxe VHS edition included the film and a documentary on the making of the film, alongside a special edition of the Art of Pocahontas book and Disney certified lithograph prints. On November 3rd, 1996, the CAV Laserdisc Deluxe Edition contained the film, a historical documentary on Pocahontas and the making of Pocahontas, along with added storyboards, character design, artwork, concept art, rough animation, publicity, and promotional trailers. The lead "If I Never Knew You" musical sequence, and an audio commentary on the total of 4 double-sided discs. The release was also accompanied with a special edition of the Art of Pocahontas book. Disney initially shipped 17 million VHS copies to retail stores, with 9 million copies sold within its first weekend. By mid-1988, the operating income of the VHS release had accumulated to $250 million in worldwide sales. In January 2000, Walt Disney Home Video launched the Walt Disney Gold Classic Collection, with Pocahontas reissued on VHS and DVD on June 6, 2000. The DVD contained the film in its 1.66 by 1 aspect ratio with enhanced with 5.1 surround sound, and was accompanied with special features including 2 music videos, a trivia game, the theatrical trailer, and a fun with nature activity booklet. In 2005, the film was remastered for a 10th anniversary 2-disc special edition DVD, with a release featuring with a release featuring two versions of the film: a new extended cut of the film, and adding two performances of If I Never Knew You and the original theatrical version. On August 12, 2012, Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment released Pocahontas, alongside its sequel, Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World, on Blu-ray disc as a two-movie collection. Pocahontas was re-released yet again in 2016 as a Blu-ray, DVD, and digital HD combo pack, available exclusively through the Disney Movie Club. It featured brand new cover art, and for the first time, a digital copy download of the film alongside the physical release. Citation needed. Citation needed. So that's it for release. Moving on to reception. Let's go to box office. I know. Time with Pocahontas' 400th birthday. Pocahontas had a limited release in North America on June 16, 1995, playing in only 6 selected theaters. The film grossed $2.7 million during its first weekend. Standing at the eighth place in the box office ranking. It beat the record set by The Lion King the previous year for the highest grossing opening weekend on fewer than 50 screens, a record that has not been beaten. The wide release followed on June 23rd, 1995, in 2,596 screens. Studio estimates initially anticipated Pocahontas earning $30.5 million, ranking first and beating out the previous box office champion Batman Forever for 1985. The film was later revisioned to $28.8 million, with Pocahontas falling circles behind Batman Forever. The final estimates placed Pocahontas narrowly, ranking first, grossing $29.5 million in its first weekend, with Batman Forever falling into second place, taking $29.2 million. And yeah, I got some spaces to fill, so hang on tight, folks. I'll be back. Sit tight. Back again. Did you miss me? I thought so too. Alright, by January 1996, the film grossed $141.5 million in the United States, being the fourth highest grossing film in North America of 1995, behind Apollo 13, Toy Story, and Batman Forever. Overseas, the film was projected to gross $225 million, though 4 box office grosses eventually amounted to $204.5 million. Cumulatively, Pocahontas grossed $346.1 million worldwide, although at the time it was seen as a commercial box office disappointment in comparison to The Lion King. In January 1996, then Disney CEO Michael Eisner contested in an annual shareholders meeting that Pocahontas is well on its way to being one of our most successful films of all time. It has equaled Beauty and the Beast's box office numbers domestically, and now it has taken Europe by storm and is playing well in every country in which it is being shown. Sales of Pocahontas merchandise have been phenomenal. Whew, so that's it. Moving on to critical response. As we continue reception, it's going to take 2 slides to get through it. So here we go. Pocahontas received generally mixed reviews from film critics. The review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes reported that 55% of the critics gave the film a positive review based on 56 reviews, with an average score of 6 out of 10. The site's consensus states Pocahontas means well. It has moments of startling beauty, but it's largely a blend, uninspired effort with uneven plotting and an unfortunate lack of fun. Metacritic, which assigned a normalized rating of 100 from top reviews from mainstream critics, calculated a score of 58 based on 23 reviews, indicating mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A- on an A+ to F scale. Roger Ebert, writing for the Chicago Sun-Times, gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, writing the film was the best looking of the modern Disney animated features, and one of the more thoughtful, though he was more critical of the story and portrayal of the villain, ultimately summarizing that on a list including The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. I'd rank it 5th. It has a lot of good intentions, but a severe schedule shortage. On the television program Siskel and Ebert repeated the same sentiment, while his partner Gene Siskel was more praising on the film. Both critics gave the film a thumbs up in his print review for the Chicago Tribune. Siskel awarded the film 3.5 stars out of 4, commenting that the film is a surprisingly serious, thoughtful, and beautifully drawn Disney animated feature about the American birthright of exploitation and racism. He praised it for sending powerful images to children about threats to the natural order, restoring a certain majesty to the Indian culture, and for having the courage that leads to life goes on ending. The film's writing and lack of humor received mixed reviews. Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly stated, with dismay, I realize virtually everything in the movie, every character, every story twist, every song, is as generic as the two hygienic lovers. As a fairy tale confection, a kind of West Side Story in Jamestown, Pocahontas is pleasant to look at, and it will probably satisfy very small kiddies. But it's the first of the new era Disney cartoons that feels less than anime. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone bemoaned that there were no funny, fast-talking animals. Miko the raccoon and Flip the hummingbird remain silent pals to Pocahontas and make you miss the verbal fun that Nathan Lane's wisecracking meerkat brought to the Lion King. The Dustin Howe, reviewing for the Washington Post, likewise criticized the writing as recycling elements from Snow White to the Lion King, with a father-child clash, a heroine's saintly pureness that transforms an entire people, the forbidden love, consultations with the oracle / shaman. In this case, a tree spirit, voiced by Linda Hunt, and the usual sideshow of funny, fuzzy animals. And by that Snow White, I mean Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So remember that. It was on the first episode of the show, so please watch it after you're done watching this video. While calling the screenplay the film's weakest element, Jenna Maslin of the New York Times summarized that gloriously colorful, cleverly conceived, and set in motion with the Disney vigor, Pocahontas is one more landmark feat of animation. It does every a children's film should do, except send little viewers home humming its theme song. According to Chief Roy Crazy Horse of the Powhatan Lenape Nation, the film distorts history beyond recognition and perpetuates a dishonest and self-serving myth at the expense of the Powhatan Nation. Roy claims that Disney refused the tribe's offers to help create a more culturally historically accurate film. In the Los Angeles Times, Angela Alais stated that Pocahontas and other portrayals of the Indian princess rarely show her having anything more important in her life than her relationships with men. Professor and Director of Indigenous Nations Studies Cornell Piwawardi argues that the film presents damaging stereotypes of the Native American population. Piwawardi feels that the representation of Native characters like Grandmother Willow, Miko, and Flint as animals has a marginalizing effect. Anthropologist Kiyomi Kutsuzawa also observed in that film. Kokum and John Smith fight for Pocahontas' affection. I better get rid of that as well. And that's gone as well. So yeah, moving on. Kutsuzawa reviewed Smith's victory over Kokum in this arena as a symbolic of Western Europe's domination of the Americas and the white man's domination over men of color. Conversely, Native American activist Russell Means, who portrays Chief Powhatan in the film, praised the film's racial overtones, saying that Pocahontas is the first time Eurocentric male society has admitted to its historical deceit. And the film makes the stunning admission that the purpose of the European colonization of the Americas was to kill Indians and rape and pillage the land. Means also said that the film marketed the first time, other than northern exposure, that a human face has been put on an Indian female, dubbing Pocahontas the finest feature film on American Indians Hollywood has turned out. Sophie Gilbert of The Atlantic concurred, stating that the film's narrative had a progressive attitude when it came to interpreting history, portraying the settlers as plunderers searching for non-existent gold who were intent upon murdering the heathen savages they encountered in the process. Although she criticized the depiction of Pocahontas as stereotypical. And that's it for the reception. That's it for good response. Moving on to accolades. Goldie on reception. Starting with ceremony, recipient, category, and result. For the Academy Awards, Alan Menken, composer, the Stephen Schwartz, lyricist, for Best Original Musical and Comedy Score, and for Colors of the Wind. And for Colors of the Wind, Alan Menken, composer, Stephen Schwartz, lyricist, Best Original Song, 1 and 1. That's it. Move over to the Annie Awards. Best Animated Feature, 1. Nick Ranieri, supervised animator from Miko. Yes, for individual achievement in animation, Nick Ranieri, supervised animator from Miko. 1. Chris Buck, supervised animator for Grandmother Willow, and David Prixma, supervised animator for Flint, nominated. All right, for animated composer and Steven Schwartz, lyricist, best individual achievement for the music in the field of animation. 1. Michael Giamma, our director, and for best individual achievement for production and design and animation. Okay. So that's something. Michael Giamma, our director. 1. Renzo Azadani, Alea, artistic supervisor, nominated. In the Arties Awards for outstanding achievement in animated voice over casting, Brian Giovanni and Ruth Lambert won. I love it. In the Environmental Media Awards, Best Original Song in the Environmental Media Awards, Best Feature Film 1. In the Golden Globe Awards, Colors to the Wind, Best Original Song 1. And animated composer, Best Original Score, nominated. Oh boy. In the Golden Reel Awards, Best Sound Editing, Music Animation 1. And the Grammy Awards, Colors to the Wind, Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television, or Visual Media 1. And Colors to the Wind, Venezuela's Performer, the Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, nominated. Okay, that's it. Moving over to historical accuracy, Pocahontas' real name was Matuaka. Pocahontas was only a nickname, and it could be variously translated to Little Wonton, Playful One, Little Brat, or the Naughty One. Smith was 28, and when the company arrived in 1607, while Pocahontas was 10 or 11, in contrast to her portrayal as a young adult in the film, Smith is portrayed as an amiable man. In reality, he was described as having a harsh exterior and a very authoritarian personality by his fellow colonists. Historically, there is no evidence of a romantic relationship emerging between Pocahontas and John Smith. Whether or not Pocahontas saved Smith's life is debated. A group of colonists led by Samuel Argall captured Pocahontas 3 years after John Smith departed for England. She converted to Christianity and Henricius, and later married John Rolfe, who was known for introducing tobacco as a cash crop. Oh boy. The real Governor Radcliffe, along with 14 fellow colonists, died when they were invited to a gathering with the Powhatan tribe. The Powhatans promised the starving colonists would be given corn, but the colonists were ambushed. Radcliffe was tied to a stake in front of a fire. Women removed the skin from his entire body with mussel shells and tossed the pieces into the flame. And as he watched, they skinned his face last and finally burned him at the stake. Ebert criticized the film's deviations from history, writing, having led one of the most interesting lives imaginable. Pocahontas serves here more as a simplified symbol. Sophie Cooper of The Atlantic wrote that the movie might have fudged some facts, but that this allowed it to tell a compelling romantic story. Animator Tom Cito defended the film's relationship to history, saying that contrary to the popular verdict that we ignored history on the film, we tried hard to be historically correct and to accurately portray the culture of the Virginia Algonquins. So that's it, my friends. And finally, closing out this episode, we have Legacy. Let's finish this, my friends. A video game titled Disney's Pocahontas, based on the film, was released on the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive in 1986. The film was followed by a direct-to-video sequel titled Pocahontas 2: Journey to a New World, released on August 25th, 1998. Bedard and Kuhn reprised their roles as Pocahontas' speaking and singing voices, respectively. While John Smith was voiced by Mel's brother, Donald Gibson, and also starring Titanic star Billy Zane as John Rolfe. Pocahontas, alongside the other Disney princesses, briefly appeared in the film Ralph Breaks the Internet for 2018, and I'll talk about that in a future episode coming soon. So stay tuned. With Bedard returning to the role. Critics have also discussed the influence of Pocahontas on other films. Sophie Gilbert of The Atlantic argues that the strong and brave title character of Pocahontas influenced the portrayal of subsequent heroines of the Disney animated films, specifically Mulan, Rapunzel, Merida, and Elsa. Similarly, The Verge's Tasha Robinson wrote that Moana for 2016 draws on Pocahontas in its portrayal of a woman buoyed by her culture. And I'll talk about Moana in future episodes, so keep your eyes peeled for it. Okay. According to HuffPost, James Cameron's Avatar from 2009 is a ripoff of Pocahontas. Avatar's producer John Lando has stated that Avatar is akin to Pocahontas, with the Na'vi aliens taking the place of Native Americans. Cameron has said that he first conceived Avatar in the 1960s, long before Pocahontas was released. But he also said that Avatar does reference the story of Pocahontas, the historical figure. Kirsten Acuna of Business Insider wrote that while Avatar may be based on Pocahontas, Avatar may be based on Cameron's own ideas, it nevertheless takes inspiration from animated films like Pocahontas and Ferngully, The Last Rainforest for 1992. In 2019, Alan Menken confirmed that Pocahontas would not be remade as a live-action adaptation in the near future. According to Menken, it was deemed impossible due to modern sensibilities. So that means no live-action video for Pocahontas, my friends. But yeah, that's the end of Pocahontas. Yay! But that's a rating for the movie. I gotta say, Pocahontas is not a good movie. I gotta say, it's 50-50 yes, 50-50 no. But in the end, too much Native Americans. I can't do it. The protesting of Native Americans is not worth it. I don't like it so much. But these Native Americans have gotta go. It's too bad, my friends. And so that's on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna have to give Pocahontas a score of 6.5 out of 10. Okay to good, my friends. Okay to good. A little bit 50-50, okay, 50-50, good. Yeah, so yeah, 6.5 out of 10, 6.5. So neither way, but I'm still good with that. Just to clarify, we'll be okay no matter what. I'm still okay with that. So yeah, it's just my personal conservative opinion. Feel free to agree or disagree in the comment section below. That's it, guys. It's all over. Thanks for watching this episode of Movie History, Walt Disney Animation Studios, and we will see you again real soon with another new episode. Unfortunately, we did not have enough time to do an episode every supremacy, so we're gonna call it. So we're gonna push it back to tomorrow, my friends. We're gonna push that episode back to tomorrow. My family will take on Kuromi. It'll be tomorrow's episode of Serious Supremacy, so be on the lookout for that as well. And don't forget, tomorrow we have a new episode of Logan's Moshi, as well as a new episode of Rob G 047 else, Logan's Retold, where it will be about Special Muse and Y1, which is requested by Kai. So be on the lookout for that coming your way tomorrow. And the next episode of Movie History DreamWorks Animation is still coming soon, as it will be about the road to El Dorado. Be on the lookout for that as well. For the rest of the schedule, please go back and check out some articles and videos on the channel. Otherwise, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'm Miko Sanchez, you yourself, and I'll see you next time on Movie History, Walt Disney Animation Studios. Join me again real soon for episode 34 as we take a look at The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is it, my friends. Yeah, we made it to another 1 hour long video. That's right, another video that's more than an hour long. So now we get to move on to the next video. We now get to move on to the next movie, which is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So be on the lookout for that episode coming your way real soon, episode 34. Until then, we're gonna catch up on past videos. We got a playlist for you right up there at the top right corner of the screen. So click on the link up above and catch up on past episodes from Snow White and Seven Dwarfs all the way up to Pocahontas. So don't miss it, guys. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for watching today. Please remember to leave a like, share this video with your friends, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, turn notifications so you don't miss a new video. Subscribe notifications to miss a new video from me as we're on the road to 1,600 subscribers. Have a great day, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to coming again next time. From Vice City, California, I'm Miko Sanchez. Sign off. Like, favorite, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another video. Laters!